All right, guys, this is the final day. Let me go ahead and send off these emails real quick. Today's going to be a good call, as you guys know. As usual, we're always getting better, dropping gems. Always dropping gems, guys. Everybody. Students dropping gems, attorneys dropping gems. All right, I just sent that out. Just go on here. Shh. Boom. All right, I just put the link in the chat. I just pinned it there. Let's check that out. Oh, there's some people on the waiting. All right, got everybody. All right, looks like we got a lot of people joining right now. Let me go ahead and let everybody in real quick.
Hello, Eric.
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?
Pretty good. I'm just like 90% done with the website, and then I'll go public.
With your website regarding overages?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. What else do you have left to add to it to get it to 100%?
Just some formatting issues. Some stuff got put up, and then it came out looking kind of weird on mobile. So I just have to make a few changes, and then we're good to go.
Okay, awesome, man. Glad to hear that. All right, so everybody that's joined, thank you for coming on. I'm glad we got Will, we got James. Today's gonna be a good call. This is the final day. Everybody that's been a part of this journey, we had many students get some deals. Quick shout out to Christian. Today, he was able to get in contact with an individual for a mortgage foreclosure in Florida. We sent over the packet to her, faxed that information over, and we're also going to overnight with the return slip. So hopefully she signs, gets that back to us. And, this is a deal for him. He's been making calls, taking action. And Christian, if you're on the call, I'm not sure if you're on the call, but if you want to share a little bit about how you got this person to allow us to go ahead and move forward with the claim, go ahead and share that.
Yeah, so this was an old lead that I worked with back in, I believe it was November last year. And so I contacted her niece, and her name is Lauren. So once I contacted her, she reached out to Cheryl for me and got a hold of her. And then Cheryl called me back this morning. So it pretty much worked. It lets you know that, when you speak to relatives and people who are close to them, don't count it out, because they're going to call you on a day you don't expect it. And I didn't expect her to call me. So she called me this morning. She's like, yes, I'm Cheryl Ford. And my niece said, you're trying to get a hold of me. And I was able to explain to her the situation. And then, I ended up getting all the documents and sent to her. And then hopefully we can get her signed tomorrow, I believe. And pretty much, that's it.
Exactly. And follow-up is the key, but also building relations with individuals that can help you out, like relatives, family members, friends, things like that. So, you know, a similar situation happened to me and James where we worked on a claim and then like months later they come back. So it's like that, guys, in this business. Stay persistent, and sometimes you'll get blessed. You'll have, you know, some people, maybe it takes them some time to think about it and, you know, actually want to move forward. But, you know, that's just showing there you trust the process, the business will work. Okay, yep, everybody's saying congratulations. All right, you guys. So we'll go ahead and get started. So my motivational tip today is start envisioning, you know, what you want in this business. So if you see yourself closing on at least one deal a month, 12 deals for the whole year, start envisioning that, because to be honest, that's really all it takes is one deal per month. If you do a deal per month and your average you know, recovery for that is 5,000, 5 times 12, you guys are going to make 60,000 in additional income. That's just one claim per month. Obviously, it's going to take time to get paid, but once you build your pipeline, boom, that's 60,000 in additional revenue that you can bring in, you know, just doing this business. So I definitely recommend envisioning, you know, see yourself in the moment before the moment actually comes. This is what a lot of greats do, you know, not only in sports. I've actually applied, as you guys know, I used to play overseas in basketball. Before games, I used to envision myself being successful, doing, you know, points, rebounds, assists, all of that. But now when it comes to business, even at my financial job, I'm like, okay, today is going to be great. I'm going to close the deal. I'm going to get a sale. I mean, it happened today. I was on the phone with a client and we started communicating, and I just knew it was game time. I was going to close them, sign them up, and you know, it worked out. But that's because I envision myself and I have that mindset. So you guys, as you know, you can't outperform your own self-image. So, you know, start viewing yourself a certain way and you're going to start producing. It's just a matter of time. So, you know, stick to the process in this business, start envisioning the deals and they will come. I'm pretty sure Christian has been envisioning this deal coming for a while. All right. We got some questions. Dwayne said, will we be adding the Facebook group info to the chat? So that's going to be sent in a mass email later on this week. So just be on the lookout for that.
Eric,
Eric.
yes, quick question. For the cold calling position, we have this. If we want to apply for it, we just send the email, right? To that you had listed on the video yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have to have some type of experience, or because I bought the course as well, but I'm like a beginner.
No, that's fine. No experience needed. You know, just be patient because there's been a lot of people sending emails. I know they're in the process of onboarding everybody, but just be patient. And then when you go through the onboarding process, you know, just try to be as professional as possible. Prove that, you know, you're going to be able to take action, make these calls, and learn, because there's a whole call system there for you. It's 5 modules that you'll go through just to learn how to be a killer on the phone. And then after that, it's just a matter of making calls, just making calls.
Okay. One other question I wanted to ask you here, because I was going through the course and I ran into the section where you're finding the auctions for your county. I'm in San Antonio. I'm in Barrett County. I was going to the website trying to see if I can find some type of auctions. Does every county have those auctions, or are they online? Because I was looking for them. I'm just not sure if my county has those auctions like posted online, or if they're having any right now. It's in Texas.
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's actually one of the topics that I'm going to discuss today, because I uploaded 2 videos in the course. One is Real Auction. This is a website that shows not only Florida, it has Texas as well. It shows other states, and it gives literally the auction calendars for mortgage and tax deed and tax lien foreclosures. It's a website that hosts, you know, data for counties and many auction calendars. You can go there. The link is in the course. Just check it out. It's 2 new videos that I uploaded. I have the links there, and I have videos breaking it down how to go to the website, because they'll give you the auction calendar, And then also give you case numbers to perform further research on the dockets, and then property appraiser links, county search links, things like that. If that county does not have it easily accessible online where you can find it, just make sure that you reach out to the county. So you can send them a simple email and ask them, hey, do you guys have an online auction calendar? Literally as simple as that. Reach out to the county, ask them that. Also ask them, where do you host the information in regards to your mortgage foreclosures or tax deed foreclosures? Where do you guys post the results? You know, because once you see the results, that's how you can determine if there's an overage or not.
Okay, and is there? Do you recommend choosing a certain market, analyzing before you start working on a market, or just like any market?
Yeah, any market is good. I don't really think there's one market that's just standing out more than the other, because there's foreclosures occurring all over the nation. But you know, if you're just starting out, my advice would be starting in a state that has that information easily readable online. You know, states like Florida, states like Texas, California, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana. These are states that are, you know, very accessible online. You can do a simple search and find that information.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Great questions. Okay, so to go a little bit more in detail on the videos that I uploaded, I'm also going to be uploading another video breaking down mortgage foreclosures. But the first one, you know, I'm telling you how you need to use this website in this business. So if you're somebody who's searching for leads and you're struggling, you can't find leads at all, use the website that's provided in these videos. Not only will this allow you to, you know, get insight on how these foreclosures work, but now you're going to be at an advantage moving forward, because when you look at these auctions, you now can be either the first or the second company contacting an individual in regards to the claim. So if you use this website and you get the auction calendar, you're going to get live time updates when the auction occurs. So literally as soon as the auction ends, you can see what the property sold for, and you can see who the previous owner is, and you'll have the case number associated with that property, with that whole foreclosure. So you can do your due diligence, you know, you can get your proof in regards to the claim. You know, now you know if there's a surplus amount, you know who the previous owner is, you have your proof. Now it just comes down to contacting them. Also, utilizing the auction calendars on these websites, you can use the pre-foreclosure strategy where you see the opening bid amount, final judgment amount, and you compare it to the assessed value, and you contact them, and you can kind of gauge your surplus from there. So using this real foreclosure website, if you're not using it, you're at a large disadvantage. If you're using it, it's going to make your business a lot easier. You guys should definitely check out those two videos in the course. Does anybody have any questions on auction calendars? Has anybody used auction calendars and gotten a deal or gotten a potential lead? Does anybody want to talk about that? Nobody? Nobody
Yeah.
used auction calendars?
A lot. I have reached out to a lot of individuals before the auction and let them know that, you know, they have a surplus coming up, and that's a good strategy to use. For I share with people on a call. That's what I do. I usually call them before and let them know, and you'll get a deal somewhat that way, because I reached out to a few people. And I just stayed, like, I didn't try to close on the deal. I just stay in communication with them so I can build rapport. So when I do call, it's like we have a normal conversation, and me trying to sell anything. So that's a tip. I just
Yes, you're providing insight, you're informing them, you know, the foreclosure and the foreclosure process, because not a lot of people know what occurs after the foreclosure. So when you kind of help them out, especially in states where an attorney is required, where, you know, the claimant can't just file it on their own, they need an attorney. this is perfect because you contact them before and you say, and if you have an attorney, that's great. And you say, hey, look, we have our legal team. We don't charge any upfront fees. Typically, an attorney might charge you up front. They might require a retainer, or they might be charging the standard 1/3, 33.3%. We'll go ahead and take care of it for you for 15%, no money up front, things like that. So this gets back to the call yesterday. Having an attorney will definitely help you moving forward. You should get an attorney on your team. And I'm glad that we have Will on this call. Will, if you want to share anything about mortgage foreclosures, any type of insight you have, and how that whole process works.
Sure. I don't know how deep or how far back you want to go. I think that may be something we cover for research purposes on another on one of the Facebook groups. But I think what you said about getting the docket number, I think that's a real key piece of information that can help you uncover a lot more information that's publicly available, especially in the mortgage foreclosure scenario, because those things have to start as a civil action. I mean, those are actions filed just like a lawsuit of, plaintiff versus defendant. It's usually the bank against the homeowner. And that has a lot of information there. And oftentimes that'll have good information about the whereabouts of the former homeowner. There could be updated information in the court docket. So, and searching the court dockets in most places is now electronic and searchable and oftentimes free. So that's something that, like I said, Eric and I can take you through, and the team after the 30-day challenge when we get up and running on Facebook. And if they're particularly in Pennsylvania, but elsewhere, feel free to reach out for Eric and for me. We can help you out with that.
Yeah, for sure. And the county dockets, like today, I was the deal that Christian was working on, literally went straight to the auction calendar, took the case number, went to the county's website where it said public record search, looked up the case number, boom, there was the docket. It had all the documents available for public view. You just click on it and it popped up and it literally gave you everything. And the crazy thing was the property actually resold again 2 days ago for a higher amount. So there was a larger surplus. So sometimes these properties, when they're foreclosed, the owner, for some reason, they may not fully fund the deal. It might fall through and then it might get foreclosed again. Is there anything that the students that are watching this should be aware of in regards to foreclosures and lien holders and who has superior right at the claim, anything like that?
It's so case specific, really. Every case is just different. And, the lien holders sometimes show up, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they assert their claims timely, sometimes they don't. But again, on the docket, you'll see who's been involved and who's around, and you can see what those claims are, if they're live and real, or if they may just be sitting there and nobody's taken action on them. The docket in many places will show the names of the parties, the names of the stakeholders and the lien holders and the attorneys for all those parties, and contact information for all of them, which is a good way to potentially negotiate some of those liens.
Yeah, that's crazy. I saw on the docket, it listed out all the attorneys and their phone numbers as well. My question is, if there's attorneys assigned to this foreclosure, do they know about the surplus? And if they do, why don't they try to assist, the claimants?
Yeah, it's a good question. There might be a conflict of interest if they're representing a lien holder, or they may be concerned that there is one. And it may just be not the area that they're interested in. Sometimes, a lot of people specialize in professional services. So they may be people who work purely on creditors' rights or only represent banks or insurers and not homeowners.
Okay, that makes sense. And then also when it comes to filing a motion for them to release the surplus or excess funds, if the county does not have a claim form, what would be your process in getting that set up to have them release those funds?
So if they don't have a claim form, I would probably first ask them if there was anything in particular they were looking for. Otherwise, I would probably mock up a version that was similar to other jurisdictions' claim forms, and basically put it in a motion form where I would be stating all the facts that would support the claim, attaching any documents that I had in terms of identity or ownership and, information. It might be a notarized affidavit stating I am the former owner and I am entitled to these funds, or I am the surviving spouse of the owner, or I was co-owner with my husband or wife and they passed away on this date and here's the death certificate. So really almost treat the motion or anything that you're going to file with a court as though the person reading it knows absolutely nothing about the situation. And you're telling them a story and you're laying it out as straightforward, as simple as possible. And, it might be 2 or 3 pages. You number paragraphs. This is how I would do it. Explain the situation and explain the relief that you're requesting the court to grant. In this case, it's almost always the same, which is the disbursement of the surplus funds or the overage that this former homeowner is entitled to.
Yeah, awesome. That makes sense, having the proper literature for the judge to understand. Now, typically, do judges actually read that, or do they have a team that will go through that for them?
So
Like a paralegal or something.
great question. A lot of courts and a lot of judges have law clerks, paralegals, and a whole staff of people who will assist them and read these motions ahead of time. And usually you're dealing with either a clerk's office or a prothonotary office. In some cases, these types of motions are motions that those officials can grant and sign off on and enter as an order of the court without even having a judge. And that, varies pretty heavily by jurisdiction.
Okay, that sounds good. So
I got a quick question. Can I squeeze in real quick?
yeah, go ahead.
All right. So 2 or 3 years ago, I was working with a guy. We used to go to the clerk's office and get a listing of pre-foreclosures, and I'm in Connecticut. So there's a sheet, an adjustment sheet, I think is what it's called, and we was finding the properties that had equity and try to work with those people with that particular pre-foreclosure to try to restructure this, try to make it work if it had equity. So if I wanted to take that same skill set and flip it and find the ones that have a negative equity, will it work the same? Or should I just look for ones that has equity on it? Because there's it's called a worksheet. That's what it is. It's called a worksheet. And they'll tell you the debts, the circumferences, and then at A plus B equals C, and the C will tell you if it's going to be equity or no equity. So can I use that strategy to find the property that has equity, or doesn't matter if it just goes into foreclosure, all bills get paid, and then work it after the fact?
So equity in terms of the foreclosure really wouldn't matter for the surplus, because it's going to go based on what did the property sell for. Okay, the property can be valued at 500,000 and have all this equity, but if it only sells at the foreclosure for 300,000 and they owed 220,000, there's only an $80,000 surplus. Like, yeah, they have that equity, but what did the person buy the property for at the auction? What's the actual real dollar amount that the county now has? And that's my thought process on it. Will, what do you think?
I agree. I think in some cases it could be valuable information. And I think it really depends on what stage of the game and of the foreclosure they're at. At the earlier stages, the question of equity, I think is real important, because it might be a situation where, it's always a situation where somebody's in a hard spot, but it might be a situation where there can be a workout done or an accommodation made, or you can come in and effectively keep the person in the property and invest in the property in that way. It sounds like that's what you were doing in the past, whoever was asking the question. I think at the beginning and then at the later stages, after if the property doesn't sell at the first series of auctions and some of those additional lien holders or mortgage holders are extinguished and the property gets transferred free and clear, as in the case of a tax overage, that's where I think equity might be a good indication of which properties will have higher value, whether it's for purchasing yourself or investing and trying to, if someone else buys it, the overage is going to be larger. It will give you some indication of what's going to be left over. So that's my thinking of it offhand. It's helpful information. I don't know that it guarantees anything, and it really just depends situation to situation on, how the property is and how the property sells and which lien holders show up.
Yeah, and if that list has any contact information, that'll be the most valuable, because it all comes down to getting on the phone with these people. You can have all the information in the world, all these different strategies, but if you can't get in contact with the individual, it holds no weight. So, if that list has maybe an accurate mailing address or a good phone number, email, then that's perfect. You want to get in contact with people. Does anybody have any other questions? This is the last.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
It's just something that I'm open to. I don't know if I'm gonna be in the Facebook group, but I was looking into like finding type of mailers that that can go along with the surplus. I sent out postcards before, so I'm just trying to figure out like like postcards or flyers or letters. Like I want to do like a case study of like which one would work better. You know what I mean? Like probably in the Facebook group, I would try so we can like share more ideas, because I don't really want to share too much on here, but like sending out letters or postcards, like create like what verbiage we can put on there, just to see what that works. Because sometimes a lot of people get emails. Some people respond to emails. Some people respond to mail. Some people respond to phone calls. So I just like want to test different marketing strategies on which ways works best sometimes with certain people.
Yeah, for sure. The mailing strategy is definitely something that can be useful, as long if you have the funds for it. Like if you just have money set aside for a business, or you have business credit, definitely look into mailers. And then also maybe something similar to like what the county will send. You can put like the property and put like foreclosure, just something inducing them to actually open it. And then when they open it, maybe a little bio about your company and what you do, and then break down what occurs after foreclosure, and then put, call us for a free consultation, something like that.
And I think it's all of the above. I think it's, any way you can get to the net, it's a good way. And I think you may want to do your own testing, try a couple this way, try a couple of flyers, try a couple of oversized postcards. You're obviously trying email and phone and text. And, it's all about testing and finding what's working, and how much each one costs. So you can, if you track it, you can really measure where your investment is getting a good return.
So one strategy that actually worked on me was for one of a settlement from a car accident. They sent a check, as if, I don't even know if I have it, but when you receive mail and it's a check, it will say your name and then your address, and you'll think it's a check. So you open it and it would be a check, but it's not actually one that's cashable. And you guys can make that as well for the surplus amount. Look, these funds are due to you. This is a check that you potentially could receive. Contact us. Just anything to get people to open. Just like these credit card companies, when they send out, sometimes they'll send you like a fake credit card. You guys can send out fake checks as well, with your contact information. So that's something that just came to my mind right now that would probably work. I know I would open that if I received it in the mail.
I
Eric,
received something like that last week. It was like it was one of those like a check, but it really wasn't a check.
Exactly. Yeah. Anything that is like an emails is clickbait. This would be mail bait. Okay. Charmaine Hart said, "Are we able to contact Will at any time if we want to do leads in Pennsylvania?" Yes. Yes, you can. And Will, he always has his contact information on board. So hopefully you're watching it, and I'll also put it in the YouTube chat as well.
Thank you for that.
hey, Eric. Eric, is Dwayne. I have a question regarding tax sales, specifically in the state of Florida. I'm noticing on some of my leads that a certificate of lien was like filed just prior to the sale, and the redeemer then turns around and sells the property. What's the best way to process that? Do you still, because wouldn't the prior owner be considered the person that redeemed from the tax
From the tax certificate?
Right, right.
Well, I think if a lien is properly placed in the county before the actual foreclosure, then it might be valid. Were you able to see that? Did the lien have a filing, like a book and a page number? Were you able to see that it was actually recorded in the county?
Yeah. And what it shows was, and I found a couple of them actually. What it shows is like in the chain of title, it shows where it goes from. It goes. The lien is placed on the property. Um, the the tax certificate is purchased by whomever, someone other than the original owner. And then once that redemption period is over and that person, the county sells or that person redeems the property via that tax cert, they turn around and then sell it to a new purchaser.
Okay, this seems a little complex for me. Will, do you know about this?
It sounds a little complex to me too. It sounds like it may be somebody who's, really just buying these tax certificates and trading them. You buy
Right.
low and sell high. If those are, you basically would get an option to buy the property and try to arrange a sale for after the ownership transfers to your hands. A version of flipping.
Right. It
makes
looks
some
like
sense, but
it looks like investors, but I guess my question in short would be, is it worth contacting that prior owner if the property has been redeemed in a tax sale and that redeemer just put it back on the market and sold it to someone else?
well, I think if there's a surplus, it's still possible. My guess is that whoever bought it is in touch with the prior owner. And who are they buying it from? They're buying it from the county?
They're buying it from the county at the auctions via the tax sale or tax. I guess when the lien goes on in Florida, you can purchase the tax certificate and wait out the redemption period, at which point you can claim the property.
So
Wait.
it sounds like it's a typical surplus scenario.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah,
that
well,
right, Eric?
yeah, you'll have to either send me some screenshots of where you're looking at or do a Zoom call, because I want to see where you're getting this information from. Usually in Florida, it has the auction calendar where it'll tell you if it said sold to third party bidder, and you can click on it and you can see the information. Is that where you're getting it from, or do you see like a list from the county?
No, I'm going directly to the courts, exactly the way you just said it. Third party bidder, you click on the document and there's a chain of so you're actually seeing where one deed recorded right next to the other in the same year. So like December, you might see the tax sale where it goes to one person, and then December, a few days later, you see where that person sold it to somebody else.
And this was all before the foreclosure, like before the date of the sale? Or was
Correct.
it after?
It was before. The redemption was before, yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to take a look because that sounds like tax lien, and typically we're dealing with tax deed overages in Florida. So I'd like to take a look at
Absolutely.
It
Yeah, so
might
just,
be, I'd like to look at it also. What you just said makes it sound to me, if there was a redemption prior to the foreclosure, then there probably wasn't a foreclosure and there was an investor who came in and saved the day. And in exchange for saving the day, they negotiated a workout with the bank or whoever the mortgage provider was and took ownership. And, there was some value there that they saw. That's what it sounds like. So I would think there would be no actual foreclosure. They are taking care of the tax problem and taking care of the mortgage problem. That's why that's how the redemption is this, very archaic process that's been embedded in most statutes that gives the homeowner the right up until the moment of the foreclosure in most places to redeem their interest and pay everything that's owed up to that date and, be the owner again. So if there was a redemption, that's probably, a save the day scenario.
Gotcha. I just didn't want to waste the time chasing, leads that weren't gonna be very fruitful.
Yep. Yeah, agreed. I think we should look into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have a question.
go ahead.
Hey, Eric. So I know what to me, honestly, I'm always want to file a claim anyway. But I was wondering, when it comes to properties that do have lien on them, because sometimes I like to go back, like in last year, and is there a way to know that the funds already been retrieved by the bank, by the lien holders? Let's say, for an example, if I'm on Florida, I'm on Duval County, and I'm looking at leads from July, and there was a property who did have a lien on it. And, I guess the bank has 120 days or whatever. How are we able to know that those funds didn't get it taken by the banks? Is there any documents about that? Or is it just, you would just have to call?
Usually the counties, especially in Florida, they'll say, if the surplus funds have been issued out. Usually like on Real TDM, for example, if you go to the surplus section, it'll tell you if funds have been, released or not. And then also if you can't find it, most of the time it is online, but if you can't find it, call the county and ask them.
Call the county. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
You can call them, hey, I'm helping, whatever the owner's name is in regards to the surplus funds. And we wanted to know if the lien holders entitlement has already been cleared. Have they been paid out, or is the full surplus amount available to the previous owner? We want to just make sure we have the proper information on our claim form when we submit it, and then they'll let you know.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello?
Eric, I have a question. If you don't mind.
Go ahead.
And this is probably also for Will. Okay, so I know you mentioned in the past about if you have an LLC and you want to establish a DBA, that you could. But is there more steps to that? I mean, isn't it more to do than just a DBA attached to your LLC? The reason I'm asking is because I'm trying to do a DBA with the LLC that I have. And I was told that you have to get a letter from the state of Secretary of State that said that you are in good standing. Then take that information and send it to the county, and the county, fill out the necessary paperwork, send the fees, whatever you need to do. And then they will authorize you to have a DBA so that way it will, if anything happens, it will attach to your LLC and not to you personally. Does that make sense? I'm just, William, Eric, I'm just trying to figure out how to do that.
Well, that it does make sense what you're saying, and I think that's accurate information that you got and that you just stated. I guess is it an LLC whose name doesn't match asset recovery type activity, and that's why you want to add this DBA?
Right. So the LLC is, say, for example, LL Resource Funding. And do we always have to have the word assets funding or recovery? Is that necessary or not?
No, I don't think there's any magic to what the name is. I think you want to have something that speaks to it and sounds professional.
Okay.
Speaks to what you're doing so that people understand, you know, they know you're not a moving company or a trucking company or something else. But I think there's usually more than one way to do something like this. One way you can probably change the name of your LLC directly with the state. What state are you in?
Cali.
Okay. Most states have an ability to amend your corporate charter. So however you filed your LLC, you can probably amend the name. If you don't want to, because you still want to continue to use that name, you just want to also have a DBA, then you can do as you kind of described and file for a DBA. A lot of times these DBA filings are also referred to as a fictitious name registration. And these are often done on the county and local level. And that's so because there are so many people, creating businesses with different names. They want to make sure there isn't confusion from one business to another. That's why they want you to check, make sure that your business is in good standing and make sure.
Okay, but does it also, right, okay. And then also my concern was the fact that you won't be sued personally, that it be attached to your LLC.
I think that's the reason to do it. And I think just like with forming an LLC, there's probably some small grace period if you're in the process of doing that. You want to do that. I think it's not an absolute necessity. I think it's a nice to have. I think it's a better choice to get better protection.
Right. Okay, that's what I was wondering. All right, so those are correct. Okay, I thought it was an easy way around it, but no, that's the step that should be taken.
And also,
correct.
And also, I
okay.
just wanted.
Thank you so kindly.
I just wanted to ask, and maybe
thank you.
Sure.
Maybe Will and Eric can touch on this, and I'm not exactly sure. I know I did some research one time before, and with DBAs, Pamela, I'm not sure. Something we want to look into if you were trying to get funding. It's much harder to get funding for your business and to do business if that was the case with a DBA. A lot of institutions don't like to fund DBAs for that matter. That may be true, but you guys probably could speak on that.
And if I could chime, I'm sorry, Mr. Whitman, but if I could chime in,
sure.
I'm in California as well, and Pamela, I had to. This is Dwayne, by the way, if you can't on the screen, but I had to file a DBA, and the way it was explained to me by an attorney was, it also protects you from businesses that use your likeness, or that there may be a discrepancy with you using a company name that may be like someone else's. So it kind of protects you with regard to how you market and advertise your business and your name. It protects there as well, or at least that's the way it was explained to me. But I went down to the county recorder's office. I think it was about $45, and it was a done deal.
Okay.
Got a resale permit as well, so you can add the resale permit to sell merchandise or what have you as well. But I did do that, and it was only a few bucks.
Okay, good. Yeah, I know in Florida, it's just real simple, like $58 online. It takes me less than 10 minutes. So when you guys mention these other states and all these issues, I'm just like, dang, Florida is real nice to be in. Okay.
Hello, I have a question about mortgage foreclosures. Do we approach the owners the same way as we do tax deeds?
So great question. It's definitely going to be pretty much the same, except for, now and telling them, the county held a foreclosure. The opening bid was the amount of taxes not paid. It's going to be, that final judgment amount, whatever you didn't pay on your mortgage. So, the call flow should go in a similar way to this. You're going to verify who the previous owner was. You're going to, ask them if they are whatever their name is, mention your name, mention your company. Then you want to start asking questions, getting them engaged. Were you the previous owner? Were you aware of the foreclosure? Do you know what occurs after the foreclosure? After you ask that question, then you can now explain to them, with the mortgage, look, the county could only keep what was owed in the mortgage. The property had additional value. It sold for a higher amount. The remaining profit is legally due to you. We'd love to help you out. Then you go from there. So the system is pretty much identical. The only difference is how the surplus came about.
Are you going to add more information about it to the course? Because I don't think I see anything in it in the course.
So the beginning of this call on a 30-day challenge, I mentioned that I just uploaded 2 videos. So I just uploaded 2 videos on that. And then also once we're done with this call, there'll be more videos on that as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
But since it's literally identical, that's why there's, not much more information, but the videos will be helpful. Everything else is pretty much the same. In mortgage, foreclosures can be easier in the sense that you need the attorney. So literally, like today we're working on a deal. Me and Christian send over the agreement form, get that back, boom, now we're good to go. The client will sign an agreement with the attorney. The attorney will sign an agreement with your firm saying that, you're the third party payer, but the claimant is actually their client. So, they're going to be in direct working with them. You're just here to kind of, pay, of course, for the attorney's work, and then also supply whatever information is necessary for the claim, your previous research, things like that. But having an attorney is definitely something that's necessary if you're looking to do mortgage foreclosures.
So we just middleman pretty much.
Exactly.
We're liaisons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick comment toward Pamela's question about when she's mentioned about the DBA. That's something I've experienced, and I worked out in California too. I'm from out there, though, although I'm in Texas and El Paso. And I want to mention that if she's in the phase of building, let's say, building business credit, toward this business, whatnot, then when you're using DBA, if you do choose to add a DBA, then you're going to have to, for congruency purposes, because that's what, when you're building the business credit, they're looking for congruency when they're checking. And if you do select to choose and add the DBA, then you need to go across the board with every marketing source that they check, especially the 411 with the DBA added too, because they're looking for the congruency.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I think that may have also been what Eddie was getting at.
Mm-hmm. All right. Do you guys have other questions? Today's topic. Go ahead.
I have a question, Eric. I just want to say thank you, guys. That's it.
Oh, that was Pam. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I have a quick question. Like I've started making calls, started doing some research. How deep into the preliminary research should we go? And what I mean by that is, I know you got to get the docket, the case number, the parcel number, you want to skip trace, but how deep in the preliminary investigation do I say, okay, I have enough information to make the call before I go deeper into, like I get a hold of them? Because if I put, 30 minutes into researching one person and then find out you can't even get a hold of them, they don't even call back, you're wasting more time kind of doing research. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yeah. How much should I get in the preliminary stage of the research?
Well, for starters, you have to learn how to expedite your research process. So when it comes down to knowing what you're looking for, if you're doing a tax deed scenario, the only information you really need before you get on the call is what did the property sell for? What's the surplus amount? After that, you can get on the phone with them. It doesn't matter if there's liens or things like that. You want to get in contact with the individual. That is the main goal. Like you said, you can do 30 minutes of research, and then if you can't get a hold of them, you wasted your time. So you just need to get enough information to get on the phone, which would be what's the surplus amount? What did the property sell for? It's going to be beneficial to see some return mail. If you can, list off some addresses that the county tried to send mail to, that's just a calling point that you can use. Hey, the county doesn't do a good job at reaching out. They tried to send mail to you at this address. They're going to hear those addresses and be like, this is legit. I used to live at that address 8 years ago, something like that. So I would say, just try to get the surplus amount, know the opening bid and the final sell amount, and then get to making calls and deal with the other stuff after you get in contact with an individual. If there's a lien or, if there's any other additional information, you might need to do some further research. But when it comes to research on a claim, I would do minimal research. When it comes to research on an individual, that's where I would do the further research. And James is great at doing additional research. I'm not sure if he's on the call. He can share some little gems with you, but further research on an individual is more powerful than further research on that actual claim, because the whole business relies on you getting in contact with that individual. So I would spend way more time on social media, looking up jobs, looking up friends, family members, anything online to actually find that individual to get in contact with them.
Great. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Hey, Eric, I want to ask something. I just want to say thank you and thank everybody that been on this call since day one. It made me so much better. I started off, I didn't know how to talk on the phone. I didn't know anything. And just this challenge really helped me out a lot to become very successful in what I'm doing now. And I just want to say thank you for this challenge and everybody that jumped on the call every day, didn't miss a day. I appreciate everybody on this call. Just want to let everybody know that. And thank you too, James, for the support and being there for me whenever I need you.
Mm-hmm.
I can second that as well. Same thing Stanley said. It hadn't been a challenge, but working with some of the guys, especially James. Eric is very transparent as well. Will has been great, and I'm absolutely looking forward to the Facebook group.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, Eric, man, you're a gentleman and a scholar, bro. But the way you brought in Mr. Whitman and that experience and having a real attorney. Nobody's doing what you're doing, bro. Like none of these other courses are this intuitive and interactive. And I saw in the chat somebody said you got to do another 30-day challenge, and it's almost like she read my mind, because I was like, bro, what am I gonna do once this, when this is over? Like, what are
Be in the Facebook group? That's what's going on.
This is like fuel, man. And I've sold everything, bro, from soap to hope. And this is one of those products that sells itself and so on and so forth. But like everybody else said, man, I won't be long-winded. I just wanted to say thanks to you and to Mr. Whitman, man, that this experience has been just above board all the way around, man. You need to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you for sure.
And I also want to say to everyone, thank you, especially Eric and William. You guys have been a blessing, a godsend. I have done so many programs and lost so much money. And it's like, okay, this is cheap. It can't be real. But that tells you right there, you can't judge a book by its cover, how cheap it is, because this is the best ever. So I hope you continue success, everyone. Become millionaires, and may God bless you at whatever you do, and continue the great work. Okay. And I'm just so blessed.
I will
to have you guys, to working with such a wonderful team. Thank you. And God bless each and every one of you guys. And I will see you on the other side.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you, Eric and James. I was able to reach people and be more confident. And I even got to practice some of my Spanish with a lot of these Spanish people down here. And so I really appreciate being persistent and all the things that he mentioned in the course, like even just something as cheap as been verified. It helped me a great deal. And reaching out to the relatives, they gave me the correct name of the heir. And I was able to find that person. I'm still waiting to hear from it. Well, I'm not waiting, I'm following up twice a week because this is like a gigantic surplus. So, but I just want to say thank you.
Thank everyone for their time and attention and coming and making this all possible. And especially Eric, who put this all together. Really just keep doing what you're doing, and everybody, stay in touch and keep doing what you're doing. It's been a great way to end the year and start the year. Let's just keep the momentum going.
Hello, everybody. It's me, James.
Thanks for the info.
Yeah, go ahead, James.
I just wanted to say that I always believe that motivation comes from within and not the outside. And being in these last 30 days here, I can see and feel that everybody is motivated from inside, but I'm also catching something different. From every question, from every answer, from everybody, from Will, Eddie, Christian, Olivia, Matt, now, there are just so many names in here that I can just go through off the top of my head. Every question and answer shines light, and it makes me also feel, and I've never done this before, that motivation does come from the outside. I think you started something here that's spectacular, Eric. It's phenomenal. I can't wait for the Facebook group to start, where we can start actually bouncing ideas off of each other so that we can get to a point where we're working deals with each other. It's just amazing to me. It is. And I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody that's been in this room. And that's all I got on that. That's how I end everything. I end everything. That's all I got.
Yeah, thanks, James, man. You've been a huge help, and everybody will. We're gonna keep this going. This isn't goodbye. Everybody's saying thank you and stuff like that. Let's just keep it going. Let's keep it going in the Facebook group. We're gonna be doing weekly calls on that. Will is gonna be a part of it. Ideally, we're gonna try to do 2 calls. Well, I'm gonna be able to do 2 calls a week. I'm gonna try to have Will on at least once a week. We're going to be answering questions. We're going to be doing, certain sections on a week. We might focus on further research with James. James will hop on, share some insight on how he does further research. We might do some docket searching with Will. It's just going to be great in the Facebook group. And then also, like James said, bouncing ideas, working claims together. Maybe if you guys want to share some little tips and tricks that you have in your area. Maybe there's some notaries out there in the area that can help somebody, but it's going to be powerful. And I appreciate everybody, but that's it for the 30-day challenge. You guys have been great.
Real quick, please, Eric.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So just everybody, if you want to show Eric appreciation, boost his social media, like his YouTube videos, play all his YouTube stuff. And I think that the more we support Eric on social media, if he gets monetized on YouTube, it gives him more free time to help us out. And it's one of those things where it's one hand washes the other. So it's just an idea, that everybody go like the YouTube and every other social media he's on. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, and we'll see everybody in the Facebook group. And I speak Spanish, so if anybody wants to practice or needs help with the client, let me know. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, James.
Yeah,
and
thank you. Thank you.
How will we transition into the Facebook group? Can you mention that?
Yeah, it's going to be
a
mass email. I'm just going to send a link out and you guys can join.
Okay, great. That's what I was curious about.
Yeah, I'll probably drop a YouTube video too with the link right there in the description as well.
This is awesome, bro.
All right.